Hey, we're on camera.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another production of Elk Grove Television Sports. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsoe. It is past 6:20, which means it's about some time for some volleyball. It's the Rolling Meadows Mustangs against the Elk Grove Grenadiers here on senior night. And Bob, both of these teams, their records aren't what they'd like, but for Elk Grove, they get their first win of the season tonight here on EGTV.
Well, even that's going to be an uphill climb. I mean, Rolling Meadows has a lot of talent on the team. I think Elk Grove has a lot of talent on the team. I think the two records you told me beforehand were 0-7 and 1-7.
Yep, 1-7.
Way more talent on these two teams than those records indicate.
But as Bill Parcells once said, you are what your record says you are. So you say there's a lot of talent, but why isn't that talent meshing into victories?
Well, you're nailing it. We had a soccer coach for my kid, too, and he's like, none of this, we're the better team, but you lost 1-0. Whoever wins is the better team.
Well, usually the case, although there's some cases where LeBron James will score 25 points in a row for his team and lead his team to a victory over the Pistons in the playoffs. But yes, usually the record says who the better team was that night, and there are some extenuating circumstances. Second best. If it's not the best national anthem, the guy who does the national anthem for the Chicago Blackhawks games, the opera singer, is the best. But that by far, that rendition is a close second place. A cappella men's group. Always love to hear it here at
Yeah, that is great. What I tried to do is find a volleyball player on the team to sing it. So a couple years there, we've had some singers on the team. The year we won the national championship, one of our girls sang sang the national anthem. Then she got to do that rendition at Arlington Park. That was something. You hear this really good voice all across Arlington Park and their speaker system.
And of course, Arlington Park is up for sale. So how much longer will we be getting national anthems at the racetrack in Arlington? But for now, we still have it, and it's good to hear that we're getting singers at Arlington Park that you know very well that are volleyball players for the Harper College program.
Yeah, that was really quite a day. Well, of course, that year, that was quite a season.
As we get the Grenadiers starting lineup. Keys to victory for the Grenadiers tonight. Most likely get the balls in the hands of your playmakers. Hoffman up top and Jasinski, who you told me, Bob, before the game, Jasinski had 6 aces against Buffalo Grove in that eventual defeat to the Buffalo Grove Bison.
Well, Buffalo Grove is absolutely a superb team. Excellent players, good passing, and Danielle Jasinski has a terrific serve. A little bit unpredictable, but a lot of pace, a lot of movement on it, and I think she just shocked Buffalo Grove with how effective it was. Yeah, 6 aces. We heard earlier tonight sounds like it's an Elk Grove school record.
You get 6 aces in a game, regardless if there were troubles digging it out. I mean, a 6 aces is still a 6 aces, and that's definitely something that she can be proud of, regardless of how Elk Grove finishes their season, and they'd love a victory tonight. What better way to get your first win of the season than on television?
That's for sure. But you're absolutely right. Get the ball as much as you can. Keys to the game to Katie Hoffman, wherever she is, left side, right side. She's a terrific passer, so Rolling Meadows would be smart to keep the ball away from her. So there's a lot of role players. Ashlyn Ryland, Rolling Meadows, is a fantastic hitter as well. She's going to Belmont University next year, not to play volleyball. This is from the Daily Herald, but she's an excellent player. So it's kind of going to shape up to be Katie Hoffman versus Ashlyn Ryan, the two outside hitters, and then the rest of the team just has to continue to execute. So that key to victory is going to be try to play error-free volleyball, try not to make too many mistakes. And I think the most error-free team ultimately is going to win this match.
But you can't play not to lose either. You still got to get into your set. One dig, one bump, and a spike, or one dig, one set, and a spike. Got to get it up front. You got to play not to lose a little bit, and you also got to play to win as well.
Well, you have to stay aggressive, but correct. You just can't make the errors while you are staying aggressive. That's usually a mistake that people make. They try to be too aggressive, and that's when the mistakes happen.
If there was ever an opponent for the Grenadiers to play at 0-7, it would be the 1-7 Mustangs. Not a big rivalry, although one team in the West, one team in the East for the mid-suburban.
Yeah, maybe it'll become one.
Maddie Zara is going to take the serve as we begin play here at the home of the Grenadiers in beautiful Elk Grove, Illinois.
One other shout out too, that happened quick. The referee there, Rich Verba, I've known him for probably 40 years. He's a fantastic volleyball player from the 80s and a very good ref. He's been reffing ever since then as well. I've learned a lot from him over the years. And of course, on cue, Danielle misses her first serve.
We definitely jinxed her.
We did, and I do that as a coach a lot. Somebody has a good serve, I'll say it to the assistant coach. What happens? Boom, into the net. But that's the first mistake.
On cue, Ashlyn Ryan looking to get rid of this tie. Doesn't have much on that serve. We'd like to see a little bit more if you'd like to try out for the Belmont team to play some D1 volleyball. A little bit too hard on that spike attempt.
Yeah, and that's a double mistake. She was in the net and the ball went out of bounds. So here's, Elk Grove's chance here. We got Ashlyn Ryan in the back. Katie Hoffman's in the front. We get a bunch of points while Ashlyn is in the back.
Well, that was a really good serve. Almost got the ace. Meanwhile, over to the Rolling Meadows end is a good spike, but better dig by Ryan out to the front row, as Elk Grove's going to have some trouble getting it over the net. Finally, they do set, and Ashlyn Ryan sets it over to the top row. Spike attempt, and it's dug out well by the libero in Elk Grove. Out to the other side on the Rolling Meadows side. Beautiful dig, and just a one-handed kill attempt by Rolling Meadows. Didn't look like the best one, but good job by the libero that time, and Ely Corcoran.
Well, in the libero on Elk Grove's side, Vicky Grusse has to move. She kind of just fell over. The ball was in front of her. She had to make a move. I really liked Charlotte Erico on Rolling Meadows in that last rally. We're going to call a lift on the set. Now, that's an unusual call for a ref. A ref will usually call double hit on the set, not usually a lift. He might be a little bit tough on the setters in a match like this. We'll see as the match wears on.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of top spin
None.
from Ryan's serve, but there's something going on where it's a little bit erratic on a jump, and it's kind of getting these Elk Grove players off guard, trying to dig it out.
Well, it's a float, and it's like a knuckleball. Try to hit a knuckleball pitcher, and that's what this is. No float. It's got waffle. It's hard to pass.
That might have been on purpose, too, to hit the net. Meanwhile, over to the Elk Grove end. And dug out by Ryan out to the top row. And a spike attempt and a kill that time. Jessica Lukasik with the kill.
Yeah, right between Duckman and Hoffman on the block. If they had closed the block just a little bit tighter, we have a perfect view of that. That ball went right between the two.
5-0 run led by Ryan, all 5 points with her as the server.
Yeah, and more importantly, they're getting these points while she's in the back row.
Not the start the Grenadiers wanted. Out to the libero as they try to get it from the back row to the top. Oh, good block attempt, but not able to finish. That time on the block attempt was number 12.
The Charlotte Erico. That was a hit from Hoffman, tooled the block, got the point. Sometimes in the sets further off the net, you don't want to block. Let it go untouched to the back row and let them dig it.
Waiting for the call. I thought it was inbounds,
Yep.
and they agree.
Yep.
It'll be point for the Grenadiers. It was a late call, though, and finally they made up their mind. Point for Elk Grove.
Yeah, ace. Interesting, the referee's using his left hand. Normally they would signal that with his right hand.
Good little serve. Dug out well by the Mustangs. Now out to the front row. And it's not going to be dug out by the Grenadiers. Point for the Mustangs, 7-3.
Another tool off the block. That's kind of a trick when you're hitting. You try to hit it off the side of the block, and you hit like 40%. It's kind of like a baseball batting average, 30%, 300, 40% is excellent. If you can hit that block, you get to hit like 40%. If you hit it around the block and the diggers dig it, well, you're only hitting 10%. And Hoffman with a dunk.
Yeah, that was a beautiful setup by the Grenadiers, and good job coming back into this game. It looked at first it was going to be a blowout, but a 6-1 run. It's now 7-4 in favor of the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think Coach Nickel there was saying to Lukasic, why did you not block? That was a nice tight set to right where you're supposed to be. Block that ball.
Out to the top row, Mustangs with it. Blocked briefly by Elk Grove, couldn't get dug out by the libero. That would have been a really tough dig by Jasinski. It just couldn't finish.
Yeah, it was Vicky Grusa, the libero, but again, she's on the ground. Just like softball, they tell you to run through the base, not slide or dive, right? Because you get through the base faster. Stay on her feet, run through it.
Out to the front row of Elk Grove, and didn't get much on that. Seems like she's having trouble jumping for the Grenadiers. That time it's number 13, Shannon Mahon.
Yeah, that set was off the net.
You got to get a little bit more jump on that spike attempt.
Yeah, the set needed to be up high and more out toward the antenna. That's why she wasn't unable to jump to it. And here, the pass wasn't good enough. The setter had to run too far. So it's ball control.
Interesting. Ryan decided to just tap it over. Meanwhile, over to the Grenadier side. Block attempt and not able to be dug out. That would have been a really tough dig, though, for Corcoran, and out to the Grenadiers, 9-5 trailing is Elk Grove.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. When you roll the ball softly like that, it's an easier dig, and more times than not, you end up losing the point. So you really need to stay aggressive on the hit. Can't play not to lose. You can't just give away the ball and hope your defense wins.
That's why in volleyball, like most other conditioning sports, not always the best team, but the most conditioned. How many times can you spike attempt in a game? Don't always have to be the best athlete, but if you're the most conditioned ones, and you can keep spiking instead of taps over the net, that's going to come in really importantly down the road.
Good serve. Got the free ball right away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep. Ashlyn Ryan on the prowl.
That was all Ryan, but Elk Grove's got to be a little bit better of blocking. I know that's like a 95-mile-an-hour going at your head, but you got to be able to be better at block, because if you don't, that's just going to be way too tough to dig out.
Well, and Elk Grove runs a 6-2, which means they should have a tall blocker on the right side. So one would ask, where was that blocker? But that was just a perfectly set up play.
That was like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball by Ryan.
It sure was.
And lack of communication and an easy point for Elk Grove.
Yeah, Rolling Meadows would like to have that one back. You just can't let the set land. Somebody's got to talk and get under it. Even if it's not connected to the hitter, somebody in the back row can call it and get it over the net. Those are the silly points you don't want to lose. Or another missed serve.
Yeah, didn't time her jump well, and by the time she was on the way down, the ball was way too low to get it over the net.
Yeah, that's Victoria Labno, the other middle.
Got a substitution coming in for Rolling Meadows. And going to be 22 coming into the game. She comes into the game, and she's going to get action right away. On with the serve, up by 6, their biggest lead of the first set. We play best of 3 at the EGHS level. And that's going to be close, tough call, and it's going to go the way of Rolling Meadows. I like the officiating today, Bob. They're taking their time, taking another look at it, and then making the call.
I agree. Well, I think you'll find Rich Verba, one that is one of the top refs around for high school volleyball. Oop, tough serve. Hoffman unable to contain it.
Yeah, definitely a time for first head coach and Becerros to call a timeout, as it's kind of unraveling right now for the Grenadiers.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of talent on both teams. And so right now the serves for the Mustangs are doing the job. The passing is not as strong as it needs to be on the Elk Grove side.
It seems like Elk Grove's having some trouble rotating over, especially on the block attempts. And it seems like it's easier for Rolling Meadows to get that ball over the net, bump set spike, than the Grenadiers right now. Why do you think that's the case?
Because it's 100% because of the passing. The passes on the Rolling Meadows side are getting to the setter, and they're making sets that the hitters can hit. On the Elk Grove side, the pass is a little bit off. Then if the pass is good, the set's a little bit off. They need ball control on the first and the second play before the hitter can make that third play. So it's all right now passing. They've got to clean that up, or it's going to be a short, you want to say a long afternoon, but they got to clean up the passing, or it'll be a long game.
I'm Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsaway. Bob is also the coach at Harper College, and you got a couple of Elk Grove girls that are going to be playing for you next year.
I could not be happier. There's another ace off the net. Yeah, Katie Hoffman's coming to Harper next year. She was also on my Sky High Club team, which practices at Harper. And then because she likes me as a coach and is coming to Harper, Gianna Lindell, the setter from Elk Grove, is also coming to Harper as a result as well. And again, couldn't be happier about this. And she just launched that really nice looking back set there and almost got a kill.
Yeah, that was just a look at what I found type of dig by 22 off the bench.
She sure did find it.
And waiting for the call, and it's going to be a lift and a point for Rolling Meadows.
Yeah, Elk Grove hit that into the block, and then it got blocked, and then they tried to recover the block. Even though it was one fist up and underneath the ball, the referee decided there's too much lift to it.
For the Grenadiers, they just got to shake it off. Oh, man, that is just way too tough to dig out. That was a hell of a serve that time by 22.
Yeah, off the top of the net and dribbled over, and another point. So I think Rolling Meadows has like 3 of those aces where it's dribbled off the top of the net. That's a tough serve.
Just tough serve to handle, and that time it goes the way of the Grenadiers. Went off the head of Erico, and unlike soccer where you can head it over the net, not in volleyball.
Now here's the other setter. So my new favorite, Gianna Lindell, goes off the court, and Paige Langston is setting. There's Derico with a nice hit into a good, solid Elk Grove block.
Yeah, Duckman was there for the block, and it's going to be a point for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, Duckman. We like Duckman. We had her for 2 basketball games earlier this season. She's a quick little defender on the Elk Grove basketball team. She's a junior. She should be their star next year. They're going to miss Troutman, though.
You mean Troush?
Troush.
Thinking of
Yep.
a little Major League Baseball in addition to women's basketball.
Right, yeah,
in the high
Troush
school
is
level.
pretty super. And there's another block from Duckman. So maybe Elk Grove can go on a miniature run here and catch up.
Yeah, you can't get 8 points all at once. You just got to get 1 point at a time and get Rolling Meadows to start thinking about it a little bit more.
Yep, volleyball is so momentum oriented, and consistency is the most important thing. And the other most important thing is get Ashlyn Ryan to the back row.
Oh, man, what a block that time, but they couldn't get it over.
Yeah, there was a gap between the net and the blocker, and the ball hit the hands and went into that gap. When you're blocking, you have to penetrate over the net.
Yeah, there was definitely space in between the 2 front row players. Meanwhile, a serve for the Grenadiers out to the front row. Spike attempt.
I'm thinking that's out, too. She hit that too hard. She let the ball drop before she went to hit it. And then when she hit it, she's hitting from below the level of net, trying to hit too much on it, and obviously it's going to carry out of bounds when you do that.
Yeah, you got to go straight down on the spike. You can't palm it.
Another ace.
Another point, probably going to be a timeout for Rolling Meadows. It was 17-7.
So you can give a lot of this credit to Paige Langston, who is just serving him off the court right now. There's a good pass. And then Rich Verba makes him pay on the double hit on the set. Boy, tough call, tight call there.
Yeah, Ryan is not happy, and going to be a timeout for Rolling Meadows because Ryan had a lot of full steam coming forward on the spike, but double hit didn't matter.
Right, so Coach Nickel, a relatively new coach here at Rolling Meadows, calling timeout. And I think when there's a call you don't really like, sometimes it's good for the coach to call timeout and cool off a little bit. Anyway, the score is now only a 4-point game.
Yeah, I kind of seemed like, here we go again with Elk Grove, up 0-7. They're down by 10, but something happened. Duckman made the adjustment on the blocks, and it got into the head of Ryan a little bit, and it led to some double hits by her teammates on the Rolling Meadows side.
Well, it's all about consistency, right? So you get a lot of points in this one rotation, but now when you rotate, how do you continue to get more points in the next rotation? Because players are in different spots as you rotate around the court.
And this is the first year for the head coach of Elk Grove. Tara's brothers also played volleyball, so it is a volleyball family for the Becerros. And looking good tonight for Elk Grove, trying to get their first win of the season. Look at that bump all the way from the back row. That's a college-level bump if I've ever seen one. Meanwhile, ball still loose, all into the Rolling Meadows side. Now to Elk Grove, trying to play it over the front row. Spike attempt, and a good bump. He has another spike coming up from Ryan. And it's going to be a kill attempt, but a point for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, Ryan hit that out of bounds. Dom Tack made an absolutely phenomenal block and then save on the right side to keep that point alive for Elk Grove.
Yeah, definitely a double hit. And wow, look at this. An 8-0 run for the Grenadiers.
And just 2 points away. Now the trick is to keep scoring in this rotation.
Just try to find your way to get the ball away from Ryan. Yeah, that's going out.
Yep.
Point for the Grenadiers. And it seems like Rolling Meadows doesn't seem ready after those serves, which is surprising because they had just called timeout earlier.
Well, and you have to give Langston credit. The whistle blows and she puts the ball in play right away, and Rolling Meadows is having a tough time passing it right now.
Yeah, that would have been a really tough dig that time for Grusa, and it's going to be a point for Rolling Meadows.
Yeah, although a dig she should have. It's right to her. She's a libero. She's paid the big bucks to make that dig.
So how do you do that if it's going right at your chest like that? Do you just have to back up a step so you can get a better bump?
Well, first stay low, and in that one maybe you have to use your hands on it. From this angle, it's possible it would have been out. I don't know. Can't tell from here. But that's what you can't do. Okay, here's the consistency we're talking about. So now Tack is outside left side. Looked good in the JV game earlier. She had a great kill. But you can't just plunk one into the net, especially in the middle of a comeback like this.
Yeah.
And then the libero missed another one.
You got to call that right away, kind of like a center fielder calling off the left fielder. Mine, 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 mine. When you don't do it right away, your teammate's going to go after it, and then you get a lack of communication between 15 and 30.
Yeah, the outside hitter and the libero definitely missed that one.
It was Kursak and Grusa. That time Grusa gets it, 20-16. Still time for the Grenadiers to come back and set one. Still in the front row, bumped straight up to Ryan, and then a little bump back by Grusa.
Now that's a lame call here. It's a lift on the set. Little too deep dish on the set. That's a shame, Langston. So 21-16, a call I wouldn't have made.
That's why they're paid the big bucks, right?
That's right.
They're the refs. We're just the fun broadcasters. 21-16. It's a fun one.
It is. I would like to have seen Elk Grove close out that comeback, though, at least tie the score and then see. But Rolling Meadows kept the lead, is now extending the lead.
It's just been a really tough schedule for both teams as no non-conference due to the virus. But their last loss, Rolling Meadows got defeated by both Buffalo Grove, who's battling for the conference lead.
They're playing tonight. Buffalo Grove is playing Hersey. And on the other side, I'm pretty sure it's Barrington versus Frem. The top two teams in both conferences are playing each other tonight.
And that's just a really tough Buffalo Grove team. Two girls are going to be playing D3 volleyball in Pennsylvania. So that was just a tough matchup for Rolling Meadows. And a point for the Mustangs as not being able to dug it out that time is...
Yeah, it was...
Kursak.
Yeah, Charlotte Erico had the block. So Tack gets to the front and has to get the ball put away. Oh, and there's a touch as the ball looked like from here it was going out of bounds. It's hard to tell, but when you're diving after the ball and falling down and reach with one arm, that's not going to work. You have to, if you think it's in, get both feet over there and use both hands.
Here's Maddie Zera again, who started the game with a serve, got 1 point. Then the Grenadiers answered, and then a 5-0 run by Ryan.
And an ace right at the libero again.
Yeah, that's a good idea, though. I mean, you're down by 7. You know, see if you get a lucky bounce. That time it stayed in bounds, and it goes against the Grenadiers. So I think that was a good idea, though, by the libero and Grusa to let that go. 24-16, game point.
Oh, no, on game point. Well, now, though, it's a pretty safe lead. You got, what, 8 chances to win this game?
Yeah, if there ever was a time to aim directly at the top of the net, that would be the time, up by 9 with only 1 point to go for the win.
Perfect pass. That's
wow.
it.
Even better spike that time to finish off the set. Charlotte Erico with the spike and the kill. An 8-point win for the Rolling Meadows Mustangs. And so we'll take a 3-minute break, but we'll stick with the action here. It's 1-0 in favor of Rolling Meadows and now Elk Grove. They're going to have to earn it tonight, Bob. They're already down 1-0, and they got to win 2 in a row to avoid going to 0-8.
Well, it's all the passing. They need to improve that passing. If it were me, I might consider switching some players around. You've got other passers on the team that maybe you'd like to try using, unless they've been using this line the whole entire year.
So which of the Elk Grove and Rolling Meadows alums have been the best players at Harper College through your years at coaching?
Boy, what a great question, right? Both Rolling Meadows and Elk Grove. I've had some great players come from there to Harper. Most recently from Elk Grove, um, Rachel Candifer. She was the one that Elk Grove earned 12 varsity letters, 3 sports: soccer, basketball, and volleyball. And at Harper, in her first year, she ended up all conference, all regional team. She was all American. She made the all national tournament team. She was NJCAA player to watch. There's only 2 of those every year that get selected. She was one of those 2. And she was in the AVCA magazine for All-American. I mean, just a fantastic player. This year would have been her sophomore year, but we chose not to play. On the Rolling Meadows side, Veronica Dabrowski, back in 2012, 2013, she's a 6-foot outside hitter, called me up one day, and Bob, I have a scholarship to Harper because of academics. I'd like to play volleyball there. And of course, this is a fantastic player in the conference. She was all conference both years at Harper, all region, all American. She made the all regional tournament team. Anyway, so she played free at Harper for 2 years. Then she went to Bethel, and on her academic and athletic ability, got free college at Bethel. She turns out finishes her doctorate, and she is now Dr. Veronica. So Harper didn't slow her down, that's for sure. But we've had about 10 athletes from each school come to Harper over the years. I think Hoffman Estates has the most. Elk Grove has like 10. Rolling Meadows has something like 10. Hoffman Estates have like 11 players over the years who've come to Harper while I've been there. The Spike Hollis sisters from Elk Grove, the Mays sisters, Megan and Nikki. And then from Rolling Meadows, we also have the twins, Jackie and Samantha. Imagine footing a college tuition for twins, 2 kids, right? Send them both to Harper, you save a fortune. Could probably buy twin cars. How much money you save doing that?
And you could probably just put it on one tuition bill because you don't know who's whom.
Yeah. One girl dyed her hair blonde and the other girl stayed brunette, so they enjoyed not looking like each other.
Well, here we go. Set number 2 coming up, and then one last thing at Rolling Meadows High School. Mia Harper ended up playing at Harper. I mean, she has to, right, with the last name Harper.
That's what I said. She was signed up for Arizona State University, right? And then I think what happened is she got the bill, and then suddenly she changed her mind and went to Harper. And she was a volleyball player, short but good. She only stayed at Harper for 1 year. But yeah, with a name like that, it was a perfect school for her.
Well, we'll see if tonight is the perfect night for Elk Grove. Already down by a set. They looked pretty good in set number 1, but the problem has been consistency. That's why they're 0-7. They just can't continue to finish these sets.
And Danielle just chumped another one off the court. So 2 opening serves from Elk Grove, both went off the court. It's just not her serving night tonight.
Yeah, that's when you're probably thinking too much.
Yeah.
You just got to get that in play. I know you want to have a lot of velocity on it, but accuracy is the most important thing.
What a great pass, but unfortunately a double hit on the set.
So what are the officials looking for on those double hits?
They want one contact on the ball, even though you're touching the ball with both hands. So if one hand touches the ball before the other, or if one hand is still holding the ball and the other releases, they want the ball to be touched by both hands at the same time.
Wow. Great block and the finish.
Yeah, they're calling the hitter for being in the net. Again, Rolling Meadows starting out with a fast lead here.
Well, that would have been a close call. He has a better angle than we do. I thought it was still in play, regardless if there was going to be a foul against Elk Grove.
Well, they said the Elk Grove player hit the net, so it doesn't matter where the ball landed. And now they're giving up another free ball.
Yeah, you got to try your best to spike. You can't always bump and set over the net. Elk Grove's been doing that way too much tonight.
Another good dig in the back row from Jasinski, this time using her hands. We were talking
Oh
about
my
that
gosh.
libero. Yep. Ryan with the kill. You were talking earlier about the libero, that play that was hitting her high, use your hands or not. That was a case where Jasinski had a spike right at her chest, and she took it with her hands instead of a pass. But Ryan just smashed one through the defense. When you have a hit set up that well, those are going to go down.
Straight up.
Yeah, off in that a little bit.
Good block. Back over to the Elk Grove end. That time it was a block by 11. Now back out to the Rolling Meadows side as they'll get it over the net. Waiting for the call, and it looked like it was out of bounds, and they're going to say it's out of bounds.
Now here the Elk Grove setter, it's number 2, Langston, needs to get the ball out to the antenna. She's setting the ball way too inside. It's real hard to hit those. You need to get the ball all the way out to the antenna. But Elk Grove is going to be hurting next year for setters. Both of their setters this year are seniors.
Straight up, got to get it over, and it's bumped by Ryan. Didn't get much on it, just kind of a half-hearted attempt. And trying to be dug out by Rolling Meadows, not able to, and it's going to be a point for the Grenadiers. Not able to dig it out was Corcoran.
Yeah, I like Labno, the middle. That's who they set on that play. And she's not real tall, but a strong middle. I'd like to see her at the other outside position myself. I don't know who Elk Grove would then put in the middle. But there's an ace. But she's a very strong hitter and very consistent from anything I've seen from her.
Yeah, not much that Corcoran could do on that. That was an excellent serve by Grusin. They actually have 2 number 30s on the team. Third hit on the attempt, as was by
There's
Ryan.
a good dig.
Actually, that's by Lukasik over the net, and it's going to be a point for the Grenadiers.
That was a perfect play right to the libero. She used her hands, went right to where it should go, the setter. When we do our stats, we like to do the quality of the dig, because a dig is a dig, right? But if you dig it and it goes to the back wall and somebody makes a play and bumps their head against the wall and then somebody else passes it over, that's one kind of dig, or that kind of dig. It was a great dig using your hands right up to the setter. And then Elk Grove was able to convert that nice set to a point.
And Rolling Meadows answers. It was a 4-0 lead for Rolling Meadows, then 4 straight points for Elk Grove, and now a point for the Mustangs.
Jessica Lukasik with the smash on the outside, normally middle, but gets a chance to hit outside in that one serve receive position, and she made the most of it.
Rolling Meadows looking to avenge their last defeat to Buffalo Grove. They lost both of their sets 25-19 over the net. Oh, beautiful job by Ryan to get a piece of it over to the front row. And it's going to be bumped over by the libero. Good job by Cruza. Now out to the Grenadiers.
Oh, unfortunately in the net, somebody from Elk Grove was in the net. Looks like 8 fingers are being held up, so that's Labno. That was a nice hit from Erico, though.
Can the Grenadiers hang on and force a third and defining set? And
that's tough when you make a pass like that off the low ceiling, and that came off the low beam, not off the higher part of the ceiling. Nobody really can ever expect that. In a bigger gym, you've got all day to get under it.
This is a Rolling Meadows team. They're very much led by Ryan, 3.6 kills per set. Second best is 1.4, actually 1.7 for Erico. And as for blocking, it's really just a team effort, really not somebody that takes over the game. I think that's the real problem with Rolling Meadows today. Ashlyn Ryan, good player, but not that great takes over the game type of player.
Well, I think part of that, again, is the ball control behind her. She needs better passing, then she'll get more sets. Now, there's a set out by the antenna, and then that's where it needs to be, right? And then Hoffman buried it.
Yeah, she has had mostly a quiet night tonight. It's been a good job on the block attempts from Rolling Meadows. Leading the charge on the blocks has been Erico.
Yeah, she's a good blocker.
7-6 in favor of the guests from Rolling Meadows over to the Elk Grove side.
There's a nice dig from Jasinski, and then down the line from Hoffman.
Yeah, not able to finish that time from Zara. We're all knotted up at 7.
And of course, the part I liked about that was Gianna Lindell was the setter in the middle. So from club player to Harper and club player.
Now does Elk Grove have enough confidence? You know, it does weigh on you not having a win yet this season. They have the confidence to finish this set. They were down 4-0, then tied it up at 4. Now it's 7-7 over the front row, a bump, and now a set. Spike attempt by Erico, and then bumped into the net, and it's going to be a point for the Grenadiers.
Yeah, Hoffman closed the block with Labno, and Rolling Meadows had nowhere to go with the nice closed block. It's good to see Hoffman come over and help out blocking.
Good serve over the net, as it was briefly bumped by Erico.
And that's sent into the ether, so that's a long hit.
Yeah, not the one she wanted by Demova.
But this is the inconsistency on both teams' part. Rolling Meadows has runs, Elk Grove have runs, and points in a row. And there's another one off the court. You just can't hit it off the court. That's how these streaks of points happen, and a timeout. And that's exactly what the coach Nichols is going to say. Stop hitting it off the court. You're a good team. Stop hitting it out.
Yeah.
Make the other team earn their points.
Just go straight down on those spike attempts.
Of course, it's easier said than done from the back row. But even in the back row, what's happening is the hitters are hitting the ball up. They need to hit it more parallel with the ground. Let the gravity and topspin take the ball down. when you hit it too hard, but you hit it up, that's what sends it off over the fences, just like a baseball.
10-7 lead for the Grenadiers. Grenadiers looking for their first win of the season. Rolling Meadows trying to avoid going 1-8 on the year. Both of these teams will not be competing for the conference tournament, but if there's ever a bright side, nobody can compete for the state tournament this year, so nobody's going to regionals, nobody's going to sectionals. It's just volleyball, conference tournament, and that's it.
Well, I like that they get to play the crossover game next week. I think that's when it's going to get played. So there's 6 teams on this side of the conference and 6 teams on the east side of the conference. And so 5th will play 5th, 6th will play 6th, etc. Oh, and after the timeout, she missed her serve. So she was properly iced as if it was a field goal kicker in football.
Yeah, I've never really believed in that. It's just the kicker just flat out missed it. And the thing about that, too, it's not just the player kicking or the player serving. It's also an entire team effort that's being iced from the timeout.
Again, the passing, the ball control isn't there. As a result, Elk Grove has to free the ball over, and then you get a hit from Rolling Meadows, but the ref can't see if it was in or out. Years ago, when Rich Verba was reffing, a player called a touch on themselves, right? And he wouldn't allow that to be made because he's like, well, it's not fair if you call touches on yourselves and they don't. So if I didn't see it, I'm not going to give you the point.
Yeah, it sure
So
looked like it was inbound, so it's going to be a point. Oh, look at that. Great job by Demova.
But again, it was because of a pass that went across the net. So you got to keep the passes on your own side.
So it's now 10-9 in favor of Rolling Meadows, according to the man managing the scoreboard. Grenadiers trying to force a third and defining set.
Wow. I like the back set, but that was just sent across the net and landed about at the 1 foot line on the Rolling Meadows side. Tough play.
11-9 in favor of Elk Grove. Got another serve coming up.
Hoffman.
Over to the front row. Ryan didn't get much on it. Easily dug out by the Elk Grove team. And this is going to be a really tough dig. And
so Libero went after that Grusa with one arm. When you go after it, you need both arms. It's like hitting the ball with a baseball bat as opposed to like a tennis racket. You've got a lot more surface area if you go after the ball with both arms than with your one arm.
Got a serve coming up. It's going to be Winicki. Haven't said her name a lot tonight. Gets it over the net, over to the Grenadiers.
Here's a good
up by
pass.
1. Oh, look, nice little tap spike over the net. And that time it was a good job by Demova getting it over. And it's going to be a point for Rolling Meadows.
Yeah, same thing from Lindell. She had to go a long way to get to that ball. She did get a touch on it, but again, with one arm. Got to get both arms under it somehow. You realize you're hitting the ground hard and everything, but you got to get both hands on that ball somehow.
Winicki with the serve.
Here's
Dug out
pass.
well by the Libero and Grusa. And then sent over that time by the Grenadiers in Hoffman. Over to the front row. Ryan. And a dig out on the front row. Actually, they do not use 3 hits, just the second one. Now over to the Rolling Meadows side.
Wow, some excellent blocking there from Labno. And then it hit the ceiling. Oh, no.
Yep. They waited to call that, too, and Elk Grove was pleading their case. Ceiling.
I like this Labno player.
Yeah. She's definitely given them a lot off the bench.
Yeah, I'd like to see her at outside, though, not middle. It must not have another middle on the team somewhere.
Sent over the net. Ryan with the bump. Trying to get it back to Ryan. Didn't get much on it. Was off her off foot. Meanwhile, going to be near the back row on the spike. Yeah, that could have been a push. No call. And it's going to be a kill for the Rolling Meadows Mustangs.
Yeah, if Rich Berva doesn't call it, it was a legal play.
Okay.
12-12.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I have never reffed a volleyball game before, but sure looked like that was more of a push than a set.
Perfect pass, though.
It
and
was.
A great right side set. Oh, no. Now, see, that ball was held in her hands just a little too long. Sometimes setters will do that so that it won't be a double hit. So Rich Verba is making it tough on setters to make good sets. That was a really nice back set. And it matters because it would have been their point and their serve. But now because of that call, Elk Grove is now 2 points behind.
Regardless, though, that's got to be dug out. It's an ace. You give the credit where credit is due for Demova, but that's got to be dug out better by Kursak.
Yep. Well, now I wonder how well Labno passes, because if Labno were the other outside, that would have been her pass to make.
Over to the Grenadiers, out to the libero. There you go, straight up and get it out to your playmakers.
Now he's doing the same thing. Again, it was held a little bit too long by the setter in Rich Verba's mind. And then a timeout by the coach. I mean, what can she say but stop holding onto the ball so long?
Yeah, got to be consistent, though. It sure looked like 2 plays ago it was the same type of pass from Rolling Meadows that they didn't call. But whatever, you move on.
Yeah, well, he was consistent in the terms of both sets were held just a little bit too long, and he made both calls. I am not a fan of that call, and I don't think too many refs make it. But nonetheless, it's consistent. So Elk Grove, you just can't touch the ball for that long when you're setting it.
Any ways that they can get Hoffman involved? She's just been pretty quiet most of this night.
Again, all you can say there, it's passing. You got to be able to pass. And that's one thing about volleyball. It's such a team-oriented game. And in basketball, you can pass the ball to whoever you want to start the clock, right? The offensive possession. But in volleyball, you need a pass, you need a set, and only if you get both well under control can you get the ball to a specific hitter. It's all passing, and of course, it's not made easier right now because Hoffman is in the back row. So you need Alyssa. You need a side out from Alyssa Kurzak, perhaps Duckman, and you got to somehow make a clean set.
Close to going out.
Or after a timeout, you saw another missed serve yet again today. Oh, nice timeout, Coach.
Like I said, it's always a team effort. I know you brought up the field goal analogy. A lot goes into it. It's got to be a good. It's got to be a good. Got to be a good snap, good hold, and a good kick.
I will say this though, to message to Gianna with those 2 lift calls on her. That won't happen to you in college. They don't call that. Ashlyn Ryan with a great tool off that. Almost no blocker can stop that. That was perfectly passed like we were talking about, and then perfectly set out to the antenna so that Ashlyn Ryan can take the line. There's almost no blocker that's told to take that line away.
Yeah.
So that's just a perfectly set up play, and if teams can do that more, they will win more. And that's the trick, to do that consistently. Another missed serve.
Good job by the libero and Grusa making that go out of bounds.
Yeah, let it go. Some people in the back row, they think because they can touch it, they should, and they play it even though it's flying out of bounds.
And it's so hard to play it unless you take a step back and bump it up. It's so hard to play those that are going out of bounds. Spike attempt by Ryan, even better block by the Grenadiers. A team block that time. And then over to the Grenadiers again, as was on the spike attempt. Over to the Rolling Meadows. And
so there's where Elk Grove faced Rolling Meadows is best. They dug Ryan on the outside, then they dug Errico in the middle. I think it was Jasinski that got Errico's dig, and then Hoffman put it away after a good set.
Might have hit ceiling, just barely doesn't touch. They'll play on. One-handed attempt by Ryan, and she gets the kill.
Now the question is, we're at the wrong angle. Is that back middle's or back right's ball? But whatever, that's a down ball, and that's 100% of those should come up.
And we haven't seen a lot of substitutions tonight, but here we go. Back into the game is going to be Lukasik. And taking a seat will be Winicki. This is kind of the lineup that Rolling Meadows likes with Vero on the serve.
She's a good server. Whoops. Again, some more miscommunication. That was the right side's hit to hit it over the net. In that case, she couldn't have hit it. She had to pass it. But the setter right there directing traffic, that was Paige Langston, and Dom Tack had to hit the ball over.
You got to take charge better on that. You got to wonder if the practice time has not been there with this virus. But, it's working for Rolling Meadows, so Elk Grove can only make so many excuses. They got to be better on their communication.
Well, Rolling Meadows just hit another serve out of bounds. They've missed a lot. And Vicky Grusa does have a good serve. Let's see if she can get some points here. There she did, right on cue, got an ace off of Nicole Demova.
So Elk Grove showing some fight, and this is kind of the lineup that Elk Grove likes to use with Grusa on the serve.
Yeah, offhand, I would keep the ball away from Ashlyn Ryan, and she did. There, another one away from Ashlyn Ryan. That, another double hit call. He called it a lift on the setter. So he's very tight on the setters.
I thought it was a good call, though. It sure didn't look like a good set.
There, served Ashlyn Ryan. Probably not smart. Look out. Oh, good block, though.
Yeah, the blocking has definitely been better this second set for the Grenadiers, led by Duckman.
There is a smash from Hoffman with some meat on it.
Nice job on the bump to make sure it doesn't go up into the ceiling, and a point and a kill for the Rolling Meadows Mustangs.
Great back row attack from Demova. Yeah, that's what I mean. There is talent. I mean, that's a great back row attack from Demova. Now she's in the front. Well, no, I guess it was a front row attack. She's in the front. There's good hitters on both sides for Rolling Meadows here.
Labno was key on that last rally on the blocks. Now back over to the Mustangs. Third hit coming up. Oh,
Another
nice
black
buck.
from Labno. I see why they put her in the middle.
Oh, nice
Oh,
dig,
no.
but couldn't finish.
No, just got to get that. At least she went down and used both hands. But if Elk Grove doesn't get, 7 of the next 10 points, it's over.
Langston, all she had to do was just get it straight up. She just couldn't do it.
I like her approach, though. At least she went at it with both arms.
Serve over the net. And it's lack of communication, too. That was clearly her teammate's ball. Over to the net, over to the Grenadiers side as they'll set it up for the front row. Trying to get over the Hoffman, and they do. Back over to the Grenadiers. And here we go. A lot of rallies on this point.
Yeah, there's good defense here. The sets need to get to the antennas and make it easier for the hitters.
Set
Good up.
straight up.
Danielle again.
Good setup to the front row. Hoffman, good dig by Ryan. Trying to save it.
What a great save.
Oh,
I hope that goes
wow.
over. Oh, that's a shame. She runs into the chairs, knocks the chairs over, submits to great bodily harm, and then the third ball never made it over the net. But it's hard on that third ball because you can't launch it into the air because it's a low ceiling.
Substitution coming up for Elk Grove.
But what a great point for Elk Grove. Now only down 1. If they can just get the next few points. Gianna Lindell has proven to be a good server. On
Wow,
cue,
nice
she gets her
serve.
ace.
Low serve, hard to...
So we got a 20-20 game now on that low serve.
Very hard to read that in the middle row. Back out to Erico. That time she bumps it.
Perfect serve to the libero and a tip, and it landed. That was a miss hit, and it worked.
Those are one of those kills. It's a kill on the stat sheet, but if you watch the game, you're like, that has to be the softest kill I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a miss hit, and sometimes those miss hits are more deadly than a smash.
21-20, exciting set. Down by 1 are the Grenadiers. Over the net, back over to the front row. Set up by the libero, over to Ryan. Now back over to the Grenadiers.
Another good dig. Oh, I don't believe he's going to do it again. A little bit of a catch on the set.
Yeah, good call, though. It was a good call.
Probably the only ref in the conference making those calls.
It was a good call, though. It sure looked like she was about to catch the ball and like, oh, wait, no, now I said it. No, can't do that.
That's the third time he made that call against this setter. And, of course, if it weren't for those 3 calls, it would be 20-19 in favor of Elk Grove, and then they would be in the same rotations 3 times. So can't say the referee hasn't had an effect on this game.
Watching this game more intently, volleyball is one of those sneaky games to officiate. I'm not saying it's the hardest one, but a little bit more that goes into it than just looking for, did he touch the net? Did you go under the net? Did you touch the pole? Did you not touch the pole? There's a lot more that goes into it than you think.
Yeah, I'd like to see volleyball technique on the setter become more like basketball palming, where you see 1 of those calls per year, not 3 per game.
And, of course, in volleyball, you have 3 to 5 games per match. Over to the Rolling Meadows side. Bump straight up. On the spike attempt is Ryan. Back out to the Grenadiers.
Now, if you're going to call those catches, you got to call that double hit. And then look at that. Just like before, the miss hit. It's the free ball over the net, and that landed. So we're smashing it, and they dig it. Danielle Jusinski, who's got a pile of digs this game, playing back middle.
Sometimes volleyball is a simple game where you got to want the ball, and it just didn't seem like Rolling Meadows was ready for it or wanted it enough.
Yeah, that was not a good time for Hoffman to miss her serve. Down 21-22, Hoffman, normally a good server, goes back and just about a foot or 2 out. Unfortunate. But now you need a crucial pass. So let's see who Rolling Meadows serves at.
Winecki right off the bench. 2 aces gives them the victory tonight. Elk Grove trying to stay in there. They got time. And a big-time kill for Rolling Meadows. That time, 21.
Yeah, it looks like Gianna Lindell set the ball a little too close to the net where Erico was able to reach over and dunk it. Game point.
Linda Fano with a huge kill. Now Elk Grove has their backs against it. Got to get this point, stay alive, and they will.
Hoffman from the back row did get it.
Wow.
Yeah,
big
nice
time.
Shot down the line.
Big-time players make big-time plays at big-time moments.
Yep. Well, now you need Labno. Now, I remember last time she missed her serve. Labno down by 2 points.
A serving mistake would end the game. Over to the Mustangs. Good block.
That's it.
Point for the Mustangs. Couldn't keep it in bounds, and it will be a victory for the Mustangs. No handshakes because of COVID. So a clean sweep for Rolling Meadows, and you hate to see it for Elk Grove. They now are 0-8 on the season, and they're going to have to find a way to get their first victory of the year. But, Bob, they just didn't have enough in the tank to do it tonight.
Yeah, you can't say they played badly. A little bit of better passing would have done it probably, and defense was good on the hits from Rolling Meadows. Just couldn't serve pass those serves as well, and of course then the referee really laid into them with some handset calls.
They also put themselves in some terrible holes, especially in the first set, down 17-7. Second set, pretty much Rolling Meadows just won it, but the first one, it looked like Elk Grove was making far too many mistakes, and it cost them in that first set.
Well, it's that consistency, and that's what costs you games. The better teams are a little bit more consistent on their plays. They make just fewer errors. But what a fun match this was.
And true to form, it looked like Ashlyn Ryan was the best player on both teams, but Lily Duckman kept them in it with some big-time blocks, also led by Labno.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun watching Lily Duckman on basketball next year, too. She was one of their better players as a junior this year. And then if she plays basketball again for her senior year, she's going to obviously then play volleyball next year, and she's only going to get better at volleyball as well. I think the message to both teams, including Rolling Meadows, who won, is try to get as many players to go to clubs as you can at as early of an age as you can, because I do see a lot of talent in these two towns and these areas, and that's the difference between them and the Frems and Barringtons and Herseys, the number of club players playing JO volleyball.
Sure thing, Bob. Well, that does it for tonight's production of Elk Grove Television, a 2-0 sweep for the Mustangs over the Grenadiers. So for our great crew, Ross Rowe, Scott Mayernick, Debbie Dennison, and Bob Vilsway, I'm Kyle Smith signing off. A 2-0 sweep for the Mustangs, and we'll see you next time on another production of EGTV Sports. But until then, drive safely, everybody.